here's, as I was thinking, we've been talking about this passage in Romans 7, and Paul is becoming aware as he looks at the perfect law of God. It's like God's perfect standard, a reflection of his character, what he's intended for us, what he's intended for the world, most specifically revealed in the 10 commandments. And Paul's whole point is, if you look at those commandments and you're honest, we've all fallen short, whether in motive or in deed. Like, we cannot live up to that standard. And because we've sinned, and that word just means any attitude or action that goes against God, rebels against God, and puts something else in his place, because we've all sinned, we're under the condemnation of the law. We are under the judgment of a holy God. Sin leads to separation from God, and it's terminal. It lasts for eternity unless there's a remedy. So the point of Christianity is not like, hey, be good and try not to sin, or like, here's the rules that you can follow. There are rules. There is a standard, God's perfect standard. But the point in communicating that and sharing that with people is to show that we have failed and that we cannot save ourselves. And the other thing that stands out about Romans 7, especially in our culture, is that Paul doesn't look within to find the answer. Right now in our culture, we're told, like, if you can just find your true self, if I can just dig deep enough into my heart, like, then if I just follow what my heart tells me, then I'll be free. Like, that's the secular narrative, right? You talk about it all the time on the show. That's the narrative. Oh, so people move to LA and like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to like go on a spiritual retreat and like find myself and then I will be saved. And Paul is like, hey, I've been on that retreat and it only leads to condemnation. He's like, man, when I looked in my heart, he's like, oh no, like I can't deal with this. It's a part of my nature. So looking out to some external standard to save you won't happen. Looking in will not happen. You need to look up. God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to live the life that we never could live and die the death we should have died by dying on a cross, paying the penalty that our sin deserves so that we could have the life that he deserves. He's a substitute. He put himself in your place, in my place. And the message that I heard, Beckett, the message that you heard on that day is that you should pay this price because of your sin, but God sent his son Jesus to stand in your place and to take that hit for you so that you can be forgiven. So all that's necessary is for you to receive that gift. So if you are, listening to this, like, and you're thinking, man, what do I need to do? You need to trust in Jesus. He's the Son of God who came into the world to save sinners, me and you. It's not about trying to go to some like spiritual rehab center, or trying to do some good deeds to like try to compensate for your bad deeds, or to kind of like look within to find your true authentic self. Like, we're all in sin and only Jesus can save. He's the only one that's going to free you from a guilty conscience, restore you in a relationship with God. And in that, it's beautiful. You're like adopted by God, and you have a purpose here and now, and you'll be with him forever and eternal. Greatest purpose in like the universe, that no matter what job you have or like community you're in or city or village that you live in, you have this eternal purpose that no one, not even the devil himself or the failures of man, can ever take away from you. And I'm like, that is the best news. It's literally the best news.